This is not an all-share meeting. Rather, it is a question and answer for Paul's take on the 12 steps. For details on all Paul's events, his story under arrest, t-shirts, past events, or videos, check out the website Zen Bitch Slap. And we have yeah.
Jacob, I have an announcement also.
Yes.
We're going to be doing an AA share Friday at 2 o'clock Pacific time. I think it's for Germany or England or somewhere, I don't know. And maybe Mike can post the, I'll give you the number of the Zoom meeting. So it's 222-165-2222. And then password's 164. So we'll put that up on the website, but it's Friday. I think it's a small meeting, so they wanted me to share it with people. So there you go.
Hey, do you want me to put that in the chat?
Yeah, put it in the chat if you like. You got the number?
One more time.
Yes.
All right, go for it. 222?
Yeah, 165-2222. And then the password 164.
Great, in the chat.
2 o'clock Pacific time, so I think it's, yeah, whatever.
All right. Mike, do you want to put in the time into the chat, please? 2 o'clock Pacific time. Thanks. All right, are you ready for a reading, Paul?
Yeah.
We're going to page 12. And middle of the page, starting with my friend. My friend suggested what seemed a novel idea. He said, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" The statement hit me hard. It melted the icy intellectual mountain in whose shadow I had lived and shivered for many years. I stood in sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. I saw the growth could start from that point. Upon a foundation of complete willingness, I might build what I saw in my friend. I might build, what I saw in my friend. Would I have it? Of course I would.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, Paul Alcoholic. I'm going to throw my opinion in this one too, because the idea of a higher power of our own understanding or our own conception usually is a starting point, and then there's growth from there. So obviously, if you have an idea of someone and then you have intimate contact with them, your take on that someone may be quite different over time. So I feel like in my little evolution, all right, the higher power of my own understanding, so I could get my foot in the door without getting tripped up by the idea of other people's God and, going to Catholic school and stuff like that. I didn't have any problem with it, but I see how people could have problem with it. So, all right, I have a higher power of my own understanding, but once I do the working steps and that third step is getting infused with some juice, and when I'm picking up the signals of life and what I'm observing and picking up is telling me something, and that's something it was telling me was turned into having a higher power of its own understanding. Instead of foregoing, all right, you're going to have to jump through this small window frame to maybe get me a parking space in front of a meeting or a date or something. Or then it switched into a very revelatory condition, which is, I don't know in a way, and this higher power is going to inform me. So a higher power of its own understanding. So I feel a lot of times when people present this concept a higher conception of God, your own conception, they forget to share about it's a starting point, and then there's obviously going to be growth. Yeah, he mentions it many times. He says, yeah, obviously going forward, these ideas are going to change. So as we grow in recovery, don't have like a fundamental door keeping that possibility closed, because it says in the book a lot that this is a starting point, and obviously it's going to change as you grow in the program and grow into this conscious contact with this higher power. So just wanted to throw that in there. What else here? And yeah, it's beautiful. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning once again. Yeah? Because the willing to believe in something that's believable doesn't stay as a belief. It turns into faith over time. Yeah? So I believe, because I've lost all belief in self and everything else, I come to believe that something greater than me can restore me to sanity, and it keeps doing that, so that belief turns into faith. Yeah, and so now you have a faith in the solution. You're not just believing it or hoping for it. First it's hope, and then it's belief, and then it's faith, I'd say. That faith to me is the root of emotional sobriety. The faith that you're okay no matter what your head's saying, in a way. So I think the shirt captures it. Let me see. I wore it for a purpose. The situation is hopeless, but not serious. There you go. Yeah. Hallelujah. How could that be? Yeah, well, we find out. That's why there's a lot of laughing from recovered alcoholics, because they see the hopelessness of it. They're seemingly hopeless, but they don't take it seriously. I love it. So, all right. Yeah. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Somebody's asking in the chat where they can buy the t-shirt.
I'll buy the t-shirt. I found it. Actually, Amelia found it, so at a thrift store. So I don't know where you can get it, but it's sort of, it should be a uniform I wear at these talks. So subliminally, some kind of different logic gets through to us, because this mental logic, formulated and reinforced and centered on this idea of self, is a form of blindness. You just don't see the higher power working a lot of the time, and which would be the appropriate response would be gratitude, but usually there's a reaction to the mental condition, which is an extreme concern. So, to be sober and to enjoy being sober are two things. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's more clarity is needed to really enjoy being sober, and not enjoy it based on being on a self probation, but enjoy it, because having faith in the process, and you've been, the suggestions that now have turned into habits, and you're not thinking about going to an AA meeting, you're thinking which one, all those things are in place, and they're moving, they're being generated by the habit. There's not much thought or effort involved in it, and you must have come to some conclusions that you're in good hands, that having a new employer, and the new employer being all powerful, which the old employer wasn't, we're going to be taken care of if we stay close to it, which you can't be far from what's everywhere. Yeah, I mean, you're always in its vicinity, and performance works well. And who's giving us a strict definition of its works? We don't have that in AA. AA is pretty it's like riding without a saddle. First you have a saddle, yeah, and then you ride without a saddle, yeah, because we don't have, all right, this is the definition of what act would be performing God's will. I mean, we don't have any of that in a way. There's suggestions, but basically you come to find out in your own experience. And like it says in page 63, we learn that we can face life successfully. How do we learn that? By facing life, yeah? And a lot of times by facing it unsuccessfully. We learn that we can face it successfully. I mean, that's what's going on. So, yeah, there is a solution. That's what an incredible statement. Can you imagine if people who have a seemingly disease, not of mind, but of the body, and someone would walk in and share from their own experience, there is a solution, Bill or Paul or whatever. Yeah. A possibility would dawn in that person hearing that message. Yeah, well, here we are. We're the bearer of that message. There is a solution to this seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Yeah. It's a way of life. Yeah. That's offered through recovery. And first you have to do some stuff to get some of the balls rolling. And then you arrive at a condition which is spiritual, so you can say maybe you wake up to a spiritual condition, but you have a spiritual awakening. That's the result of the steps. That's the goal of the steps. And now you're on new footing. Your reliance on the infinite instead of the finite self. Yeah, I mean, you're established there. So maybe you won't be tomorrow, but at least you are today, and you can enjoy it. Yeah, there's a great amount of peace available when all that anxiety and irritability and restlessness and discontent has been muted. Yeah, you can enjoy peace of mind. Yeah, you could, follow the track of the hummingbird in the air instead of following the interpretation of Paul all day. Yeah, you're available to have your attention called off of you and given to others. And what a freedom we've been offered here. So thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Anybody have any questions for Paul, or any maybe comments on what has been shared so far? Seems like everyone just loves your shirt, Paul.
Oh, great. Maybe we'll stop printing them and not tell the person who came up with it. Yeah.
We have a question from Michael Stacy.
You can write it in your own lovely way, Jacob. Okay,
sure.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
The situation is seemingly hopeless.
Okay.
You get choices, either hopeless or seemingly hopeless.
Right.
But the bottom line would stay the same, but not serious. But if it's about me, it's got to be serious. Yeah. This is important to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Gabe Campbell says resistance is futile.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We have a question from Michael Stacy here. Mike,
all right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael, and I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Paul. And it never, thank you for your service too, Jacob. It never fails to amaze me on how the message that you bring is directly, it hits exactly where I'm at, and it's exactly where I'm at today. You kind of answered my question. Well, it's not really, it's kind of a question. It's more well, let me just say. So I had some time in the program years ago, and I had a period of about 9 years of clean and sober. And I was, I didn't work myself all the way through all 12 steps. And so what's happening for me now is now I'm on 2 years, and I've went through the steps, but like all of the work, I'm finding that all of the work that I failed to complete before is now, it's like I shoved it all into the closet, and now I'm opening up the closet, and I'm afraid to open that closet because I know it's coming crashing down on me. And it seems it seems to me that like it's just too much to bear, and like almost not to the point where I'm getting to the point of like fuck it, but like wow, this is like unsurmountable of the amount of like, not only do I have to make up like the work of like the past 10 years of my relapse, because it took me 10 years to get back, but all of that work that I failed to complete before. If you have anything that you can share on that, or maybe we can talk later about it. Or
Yeah, well, one thing is, you know that if you open the closet, all this shit's gonna fall on you. I would say you don't know that, and trusting the process, if it moves you to open the closet, be assured that you're going to be taken care of. That's the recovering view, so to speak. Yes, because in that statement we're relying on self. Relying on self is saying, don't open that closet because all this shit's going to fall. And if we have faith in that, we may not open the closet. That's why one of the great statements in AA on this path of recovery is trusting the process. This is a time to trust the process. Yeah? Yeah. And you'll have the ability to deal with. See, there's that statement that God will never give you more than you can handle. Well, I feel like God will never give you more than it can handle. So, yeah, I don't believe it's on you. It's on that power. So the power may see a lot more strength in you than you do. So, yeah. So this is just an opportunity to see it in a different light. Yeah. I've had it in recovery, but not so much as with the story that you have. But I had a simple one of when I got introduced to the fourth step, and I was doing the fourth step, and my sponsor, this was like 4 months or so, my sponsor says, well, anything else going on? And I didn't really want to tell him, but I had a lot of outstanding warrants for my arrest, 2 of them in this one county in Alameda nearby here. And I had been in the jail of Alameda, Santa Rita, and that's a fucking nasty place. So I did not want to go back there. Yes, so I basically told this guy who was my sponsor, I'm not dealing with this shit. Yeah, because I'll go to jail. That was, I believe, my perception. Yeah, if I start dealing with this, I'm going to go to Santa Rita, and I don't want to go to Santa Rita, so I'm not dealing with this. It was completely reliance on self in a way. Yeah. So then life conspired me to meet this lady, and she had a name, and it wasn't her real name because she was an assistant district attorney, San Francisco. And so when she started feeling she was interested in me, obviously she checked my record and she saw these outstanding warrants. So she brought them to my attention and she offered me help. She says, I'll help you through it. Yeah. And this was about 6 or 8 months before I made that proclamation. I'm never going to deal with that shit. And I had become willing, as it says here, I had become willing. And I had grown in trust because the program works. Yeah. It wasn't like a leap of faith. I had grown in trust. So I said, all right. And I dealt with those. I walked through those. I opened that closet that I thought would destroy me, and it didn't. It brought a lot more freedom, actually, because I had those 2 warrants were taking up a lot of space in my life. Yeah, I had to pay the rent for that fucking storage unit, so to speak. Yeah, and by opening the door and telling the truth to someone else and opening myself to be helped, I was, and I ended up having just to pay money. But I was so sure I was going to go to jail. Yes, this is faith in self, isn't it?
yeah,
I didn't look into it, but I just believed. that if I go to court, I'm going to go to jail, and especially Santa Rita, and I don't want to go to Santa Rita, so I'm not going to court. That was the faith in this system. Yeah. Now I'm hoping that perhaps there is a better way, and that was the beginning of the shift in this life as an action figure of trusting the infinite. That was one of the many things that I did not want to face that I faced, and I found out I could face it successfully. Yeah, I did not end up in Santa Rita, which was fucking awesome, and those 2 warrants were cleared off of my record. So, yeah, these are like demarcations on the highway of going towards the infinite and moving away from the finite. It's good to honor them and know you're in good hands. And if it's too much for you now, get back to it a little later. It's not like earth-shattering, has to be done now. Yeah. Yeah, if the closet door seems open on its own, I take that as an invitation. Yeah, just let life has a better plan for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
And,
awesome, Paul.
and call me up if you like. I'm a little spaced out, but I'll try to be available and then work with someone in Madeira who you can physically see. Yeah. Yeah. And let it finally get it done with and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of like when you shared before about, the alcoholic of my type would pay any consequence tomorrow for the relief today. And like, well, it feels as though my tomorrow is today.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an old strategy that basically almost killed me, which is avoidance at all costs. If my left arm was bleeding, I would just look right. I wouldn't fucking deal with shit. And then shit dealt with me. And I had a weird strategy. The way I would not deal with the old shit was making new shit up every day. Yeah? You know what I mean? It was when AA gave me about 6 months of sobriety, I hadn't made that much new shit. I got the willingness to look at the old shit. Yeah, but my old solution was just keep making new shit, so I don't have to look at the old. It doesn't work, obviously. Yeah, so much. My main strategies for living were completely ass backwards. It's amazing that I survived on the game board, really, because it didn't. I wouldn't write a book, My 5 Ideas for Successful Living. They were totally, these will end you in the fucking crapper quickly. So, avoid everything at all costs. If something bothers you, move to another state. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's insane. And then everything you feel like you're successfully avoiding are huge elephants in every one of your rooms. Yeah, there's no air to breathe. Oh yes, but I'm getting over. In a weird way, I was so freaking relieved when I was on the 9th step, and actually amends were finding me, and I would be given a choice. I'd see someone I owed money to on the street, and my first reaction was keep driving and make a left. But then AA would hit me and I'd pull over. Hey, Tony. And the guy would come over. I owe you $50. I never paid for that phone bill when I was living with. You know what I mean? And I kept finding that I could face life successfully by facing life. I mean, yeah, that's the trusting the process part. Yeah. You were in a lot of times we're moving from that old gravitational field to the new gravitational field. Yeah, there's going to be a pull to do the old behavior, and yet there's enough grace to do something new. Yeah, and then you see it works. I mean, how many people had an idea that 9 steps? I never want to do the 9 steps. And then you do a few of them, and you're so keen on doing them because of what happens, yeah? Right. Even the person where you said, fuck you, I never want to hear from you again, you fulfilled the mission, yes? You made an amend. You said, you know what I did to you? I'm gonna try the rest of my life not to do it to anyone else. Yeah. And I felt I had the power behind me to actually give it a good go. It wasn't like just bullshit to get a hit or something. Yeah. I actually was sincere that, hey, I don't want to do this anymore to anyone really. Yeah. So there. Yeah. This, don't you see? They don't write in the book, but they could. They could write what it was like living under the old employer. Yeah. Well, you know, they talk about they're insinuating you must know something's playing God, and therefore they say quit playing God. I mean, they could write a companion piece and describe what playing God looks like. Yeah, or having a new employer. Obviously, you had an old employer, or like Kurt would say, you know, you're driven by 100 forms of something like that. So you're more like a car, yeah, than a driver. Yeah, you can be taken over by something. All right, well, is there a choice? Yes, there is a choice. Perhaps there's a better way. Be taken over by the infinite instead of the finite self. Yeah? So let's describe what it's like to be taken over by the finite self. And then you'll express what it's like taken over by the infinite. Yeah? Because it's truly indescribable. Yeah? Because all the events that happen to fortify this idea of being convinced, there's an intimacy with that power that you can't capture by words or music or writing. I mean, that's the challenge. You attempt to do the best, but you can't capture it. Yeah? You know, you've been saved in a way. Fuck. I mean, how, you know, you can't quantify that gratitude, really. You know, we know what it's like to be bottom feeders. We know it. Yeah? And left to our own devices, those devices are going to be taken over by self. Yeah. And we're just going to be hollowed out over time. And we'll want to die and it won't let us. I mean, shit. I see some people in Haight Street. I used to live there when I first got sober. I go back there, I see some of the same people. This is 30 years later. They're still kicking it. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know what we were talking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Michael. So, yes, there's enough people here that'll help you. I mean, let someone else open the closet and inform you it wasn't as bad as you were thinking it was. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. It's worse just having that closet. You might as well fucking, you got new shit you like to put in there, don't you? I would.
Yeah.
My life is sort of big. I need a lot of space now. I can't have an off-limit closet. I need that space. Yeah. That's what life is, you know. We feel like, all right, I'm calling the whole thing off, and yet life keeps on demanding itself from us because it doesn't give a shit about what we're not. It's just loving us and extracting that from this little fucking crypt keeper. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. Like they say in that thing, no one likes to admit complete defeat. But after you do, a lot of people like that. Yeah. No one likes to admit complete defeat, but a lot of people are like a lot of what happens when that occurs. Yes. Yeah. All right, Mike.
Thank you, Paul.
People will walk through it with you, bro. Yeah. You're not unique or special. Let's just do it. Yeah. We need you here anyway, Mike. We need you. Yeah. We need all of you in the Zoom. Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
Anyone
Michael.
else?
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, we have a question hand up from Rich A. Rich asking you to unmute.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm pretty good at the minute. My brain's been rattling around quite a lot recently. And I got to a stage where I just kind of just like gave up on everything because I realized I couldn't trust myself anymore. I realized that's a good thing. Can't trust the action figure and my thinking patterns. But my action figure is set up to not trust anything or anyone. That's how it survives. That's how it survived when I was younger, and that's what it'll continue to do. But somehow, from me just giving up a bit and that kind of lack of energy and listlessness, and I can't be arsed with anything, and just sort of coming here and listening, and things have just sort of fallen into place. And I kind of realized that if I just sort of stop trying so hard, things just sort of fall into place. So I think I'm just more saying thank you than anything.
Well, it's a big thank us because you're a bigger part as everyone else is. Yeah, that's the point. Traveling lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, I might be all in a mess again in a week's time, but for now, for today, it feels like, you know.
Well, you don't know that, so that's the good news.
I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't.
Yeah. So this is what happens when that forecaster that had you buying raincoats every week sees you without a raincoat. It gets worried. Yeah. It's not being taken seriously anymore. Yeah. Yeah. You're following a different forecast. Yeah. Yeah. It's truly like that. The head plays a role of being the GPS, and it has no ability to get us where we like to arrive. Yeah? It has that extreme tendency to constantly bring us to institution, jails, and death. Even though we were setting out on a 2-week holiday, it just has a habit of driving through those 3 parking spaces. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You lose faith in that, and that's the gaining of faith in the infinite. Yeah? You don't have to gain faith in the infinite. You lose faith in the finite.
Yeah,
and then
well,
I'm faith in the infinite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, so normally my head's going, right, we're going to do this and then do that, and it's trying to control and manipulate everything. And all I'm doing is I'm just waiting a moment and going, that things aren't going that way. Which way are they going? Let's just go with where it's going. And if I just go with where it's going, it all seems to fall into place far better than I could manipulate it into place. I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah, it's.
No, that's explained it well, bro. Yeah. Those things just like really chew that taste so you get familiar with it. Yeah, because there'll be a counter narrative that's trying to convince you otherwise.
Yeah, almost constantly. Yeah.
Isn't another narrative. It's a sense feltness. You've been, like people in AA here say, you were kissed on the cheek by the higher power. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's like my head will rant, and say what it wants to happen, but what's actually meant to happen, it just kind of appears in like inspiration, whether outwardly or inwardly. It just, yeah, there's no force to it. There's no control to it. It just, yeah.
There'll be a lot more of that. That's what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll keep turning up and see what happens.
That intuitive thought that people would think is very rare becomes more the norm. Yes.
Yeah, I sense that's there all the time, but it's quiet. It just don't make a big song and dance.
Well, great, Rich. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Don't see any more hands up, Paul. I have a comment. So would you say that, or it seems that playing God and faith in the finite self are the same thing? Yeah.
Yes. Well, faith in the finite self allows it to play God.
There you go.
Yeah. It doesn't have any godlike juice. It uses ours to play God with. That's through the faith. Yes, I feel. the faith is, I think in the history with the man Jesus Christ, he emphasized faith quite a lot, more like a force, like gravity, and he would always, when somebody asked to be healed and a healing occurred, he always would say, "Hey, it's done according to your faith." He'd always put it on the person, and I think Bill W. runs into the importance of faith on page 52 and 53 and the top of 54. He goes into it very clearly, where in one way he says at the end, so in one way or another we discovered that faith had been involved all the time. I would imagine we're captured in the statement all the time, yeah, because this time is part of all the time. So he was saying how important this faith is, yeah? And if the faith is misdirected into the thought system, it will produce anxiety, really, from what's not happening, which is an incredible, as a miraculous event, that's incredible to make shit out of nothing, really, yeah? Which most of our heads are doing all day. It's incredible, really. If you saw it as an event, you'd be like, wow, that's unbelievable. Yet that same faith, if it's moving towards the infinite, it translates as an ease and comfort in your own skin now, yeah? So the translations are quite different, but it's the same power, faith, yeah? Faith in the infinite or faith in the self. Their translations of the faith are going to be extremely different, but it's the same power, the same energy, yeah? So I'm a real believer in the idea of faith as Bill W. describes it, as a force. And obviously I've seen the effects of having faith in self, yeah? And I've witnessed the effects of having faith in the infinite now for many years, yeah? I mean, there would be no like, well, which way should I go? It's pretty clear. I think I'm going to lean towards the infinite. Yeah. So when people have faith in thought, and really how the faith keeps going to the thought is the sense of my concerning the thought, yes?
Yeah.
A thought and my thought, there's a lot of faith going into the my thought, much more than just a thought, yeah? So the my is almost like the spigot that directs the faith to the thought, yes? The my sort of takes the faith and targets it to a thought. It's insane. Because I'll tell you, I know mostly a thought's not going to ruin my day, but my thought could, yeah? So where's that power that's ruining my day? It's not from the thought, it's through the thought. It's from the my. And the my is like directing the faith into the thoughts, yeah? And now when Jesus Christ, it's incredible. Because I can sit with somebody who's totally flipping out based on their thought, has no effect on me. But the same thought that's driving them crazy, if it's held as my thought, it can drive me crazy, yeah? So obviously it's not the thought, because as long as it's his thought, I'm not touched at it by all. It doesn't matter to me one bit, really. I care, but not that much. But as soon as it's my thought, fucking, yes. Well, the mea culpas break out, everything like that. So I was always intrigued by that power transfer. Yeah, because I knew something was going on. I did. I knew when I was young and I started to drink, I realized I had magnetic appeal to people in uniform. I put out like a dog whistle to authority. And my whole life got filled with police and judges and hospital nurses and doctors. And it was almost like a beacon. I was like a dog whistle. Something just picked up on it and they were on me like that. And now that doesn't happen anymore because that power isn't being directed by self. Yeah. So it's not bringing me to where it used to bring me. It's the same power though. It's just put into a better, a pair of hands, so to speak. Obviously there's no hands, but let's say it being put into the infinite. I just love how the faith through the infinite translates into this life. It's just that simple, you know, to have the ability to enjoy peace of mind, to know serenity and understand this shit. It's awesome, man. It's incredible. So, yeah. So faith, not a faith, faith, yeah.
Right. Tanya Cardenas has her hand up.
Hi, Paul. It's funny because you kind of talked about what I was gonna talk about. So you kind of, I'll go ahead and say what I was gonna say though. When you were talking about intuition.
Yep.
As that grows in us, as that.
Yes, of course.
As it grows within us, like.
It doesn't grow in you. It's more accessible. There is intuition there.
It's like, is that why the anxiety dies? And then also it's like it's like for me, my anxiety was so bad in the past that something has happened that my intuition is growing, or it's always been there, but it's becoming unveiled, I guess. And my anxiety has died down like to zero, except, not except, like, how can I explain it? It's, so now, like, I know when something really is wrong, as opposed to when it's my mind just thinking it's wrong, because I feel it in my body in a whole new way, like, or I always had that accessibility to feel it, but this body wasn't aware of how to do it. Am I making any sense?
Yes, because when you're relying on self, you're relying on self. Now you're not relying on self, so some reliable aspects that are available to us are being pronounced, yes?
Is that your experience, that like if something really is wrong, you know?
Yeah, of course, yes. You can feel it in your gut, yeah, sure.
That's what's amazing that's happening right now. I just had to, like, I wanted your feedback on it because it's so strong. And oh man, I just, thank you, Paul. Thank you.
You can, and it will grow. It'll become, you'll rely upon it more. It's not going to get more reliable, but you'll rely upon it more. Yes. It's already reliable. Yeah. There's more than one unsuspecting inner resource. There's a lot of them. They all may be coming from the one, but there's a lot of them. Yeah. You recognize stuff, and then you put your money on that bet, and then it pans out. So you keep putting that money on that bet, and it pans out. And there's a faith in that process, really. Maybe that begins with hope, and then you believe, but you got a lot of doubt. But then there's a galvanization. There's a faith. You're convinced, yeah. And what's beautiful about recovery, it delivers the goods, really. So it speeds up the process. You're not lost in a battle between belief and doubt for many years. It usually progresses into faith quickly, because it's hard to deny the effects. Yeah. That's the way to-
Absolutely. I had a really big test that I had to take yesterday. So the day before that, I was like, I was just, you know, the anxiety was there, but it was like excitement and nervousness. And I told myself, like, give me a sign, mom, because my mom passed away in 2011. I was like, give me a sign that everything's going to be okay. And I automatically, like 10 minutes later, I heard, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing's going to be all right. I heard that song, and then I was walking, and then I saw this other sign that said, have faith and courage and celebrate. And I mean, I passed the test, but
Yeah.
and I was like, that's not coincidence, right? That's not.
No. But don't listen to me. You know it's not coincidence in your gut. So just go with that.
Right. Yeah. It's like a new way of being, of like totally trusting that, right? It's like trusting.
Well,
Hey.
well, why not? See, I mean, there's an idea of trust. Let's say there's trust, and you trust people, and then they disappoint you. So then the mental state sort of says, all right, I'm not going to trust anybody anymore. But my experience is I'm willing to be taken a few times because I rather feel trusting during the day than not. So if someone gets over on me, maybe they needed it. Who knows? But I'm not going to. I know how the head works in my experience, which is if something's coming through one window, it closes all the windows. Yes. It's just, and it's hard to get those windows back up. So, you know, I've never taken advantage of, yeah, but you're fucking arthritically rigid. You know, I don't want to, trusting life and people is more flexible to me. Yes. It's
Yeah.
got, yeah. And, yeah. So, yeah, you learn to trust this process because you learn that you can face life successfully. How do you do that? By facing life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because basically the
Thank
only
you.
solution in my life was don't face fucking anything. Really. That was basically it. So I couldn't learn if it was truly unsuccessful or successful because the whole theme was unsuccessful. I just didn't fucking try shit. Yeah. When people would say, you know, living on the edge is drinking and shooting dope and shit. No, to me, living on the edge would have been going to a job interview or sitting there and having someone unconditionally love me. That would have flipped me out. Yeah. Getting loaded and fucked up was easy, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other, the normalcy of life is what was flipping me out, seemingly. So I faced life successfully. I went to court when I didn't want to go to court, and I didn't end up in jail. And all these things started to happen. Yes, so all the boogeymans that I'd rather just walk by and not look in, life wouldn't let that happen. It opened all the doors, and I had to see all the boogeymen and come to terms with them. And mostly it was nothing. Yes. It was all being made up in my own skull. So how was I going to find that? By reading about it's only made up of my own skull? Sometimes the school of hard knocks is much more convincing. No, I had to show up for shit I didn't want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or petrified to be rejected from by someone without my shield of being loaded to protect me from really feeling that sadness and longing and not having it met. We all, basically, most people have grown up by the time they're our age, but we a stunting of growth. Hold on one second. I think Amelia is trying to get in touch with me. Oh, never mind. It's fine. She's on her way. So, yeah, honey, I've been watching you, and I feel a lot of people. Yeah, you're just in that process. more and more will be revealed, and you're in good hands. Yeah, and something has a plan. Let it execute it. Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul.
yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. And last up, we have Mike Z. Mike, come in when you're ready.
Hi. Because of what Rich and Tanya said, I wanted to mention the windsurfing metaphor. When I was on vacation, I was watching somebody do it and thought it was so funny that, you know, we could ever have objections to going the way things are going, you know, like Rich mentioned. And Tanya mentioning about noticing things in the body. So like, you know, if there's some going with selfing, you know, like a worry about time, that there's going to be a feeling in the body of, you know, of some kind of tension or whatever. And, but that doesn't have to be different than like windsurfing, right? You're like, you kind of get a thrill. You don't know which way the thing's going. And, but then you don't get upset, you know, as you recalibrate and you, so how that, you know, is very helpful for me as far as both, combining like the idea of doing God's will. And as you say, you know, what is doing God's will well? Well, it's enjoying the windsurfing, and turning things over to the care of God. So that being kind of the you know, the real coming to believe, right? That you don't have to worry about falling in the water. I mean, you'd actually enjoy it. You don't think twice about whether you're cared for. So that the windsurfing metaphor.
Well, the thing is, the idea of the water, if you've ever been in it a lot, the basis of your relationship with that is it's a higher power. Yeah, you don't fuck with Mother Ocean. Yeah, so basically they've got to go with the waves and the wind. They're in the right pecking order, realizing that's what's running the show. Yes, and it's the ocean, and any person's relationship with it is going to be a humbling one for the person, because if you've ever been in waves that were over your pay scale, fuck, you're totally, you know, if you go past the last wave line, you're fucking out to sea. There's nothing you're going to do about it. So there's a very, very strong recognition of your position in regards to that position. Well, that's the same thing for me with the infinite. Yeah, you have a right sizedness, which is that's the seed of humility. You recognize how little you know, and how little you know what's going on. And in that, you're open to know what's going on when you need to know it, yeah? Because something will come through you, yeah? Yeah, so, and part of the, you know, falling off the board is fun, too. That's part of it. It's not like always catching the perfect wave. A lot of people, their whole reputation is living through terrible wipeouts. They've been pummeled every time you see them, and you can't believe they're still going out there. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel that attitude and outlook comes from a real recognition that something is doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. If you see that first dance step and that's the leading step, your response will probably be appropriate, like gratitude and awe and an honoring. Yeah. Yeah, I feel it does. But it's based on recognizing that first dance step, like what's going on? Yeah. Is this all about me? No. Yeah. And then that sense of usness opens you up to a lot of other possibilities. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and because I don't do for me, doing for me or doing for us because we're not doing for ourselves, not getting in the way.
Right. Yeah, we better be, Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, thanks, Mike. Yes.
Thank you.
I believe that's all for today, Paul. You want to
Oh,
say hellos and goodbyes?
yeah. Let's say goodbye to everyone. First, Jacob and Alex. Nice to see you guys. Hudson Valley. We're new. Zen Bitch Slap Central is taking place. Yeah, there we go. We've got Mickey. Mickey, thank you for being Mickey. Yes. Kurt Z. Always good to see you. PK, Long Island boy. Yes.
Thank you, man. Great stuff, man. I love it. And I want to just say one thing, Paul, and just get your feel on something.
Yeah.
When you were talking about page 52, 54, I noticed in there, I love the part in We Agnostics about the great reality deep down within us.
Yeah.
And I feel do you feel like for people who feel, God is like a loaded word in a way, the great reality could be, something that could be the comfort that even in our darkest moments, that great reality could just ground us.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love that term. It's so
Yeah.
powerful, right?
Yes. Yeah. There's always, a lot of people come up with a lot of different ways of naming the same thing. Yeah. Or the same no
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So which one? Sometimes you'll take offense at one and you'll be happy with the other. So, yeah. Trick the head. Yeah. The thing is, you need to get the glass of water. So, whatever's telling you, well, I'm not going to receive it from a guy with a green blazer. Well, fucking get that thing, send that around the corner for a half hour and get that water.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I love your service. It's awesome, man. It's so, so relieving and refreshing. And, sometimes, I think, it's just like you said, everybody here together, that's the solution. Individually is where, we could fall into that hole deeper and deeper, but with each other, we can kind of realize there is no hole.
Yes, yes,
So thank you,
definitely.
man. It's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah, yeah. Hey, thank you, bro. Tommy in Ireland. Nice to not see you, Tommy. We got Tom, another Tom here, I think. Yes, Tom. I think he's in the UK. Yes, yes. Nice to see you, Tom. We got Mike from California, San Francisco. Yeah, we got Paul, another UKite. Yeah,
Well, thank you so much.
yes. We got Stefan on Having Never Left. Always a pleasure. Walter, my brother from another mother. All right, Walter. Yes. I didn't know there was, I can't go into my family tree right now. Nice to see you, Walter.
We discussed this one.
We got Owen. Owen K. Nice to see you, Owen. Yeah. Rich, thanks for your share, Rich. Yeah. The Kim N. Nice to see you, Kim. Lovely pictures in the background. Yeah. We got, oh, there he is, Bo. Bo, how's it going with the fifth step? No? Well, call me up and then we'll do it on the Zoom if you want. Sometime, but not soon. Just get in touch with me. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We got Nina. Always a pleasure, Nina. Yeah, nice to see you. Yes. Roman. My German friend. I had the great pleasure of showing Roman the West Coast beaches where I live. We had a nice little trip with his lovely girl, Barbara. Not his girl, Barbara. Not drop the his girl out. Yeah. We got Jackie I. There she is. She's doing something. She's got
Puzzling.
What?
Puzzles. I'm puzzling.
Oh, you're pretzel.
puzzling.
I
It's
don't
a
know what,
1,000-piece puzzle, so
oh, you're puzzling. Oh, all right.
yeah, I love it. I love doing it. Enjoying a day off and listening in as typical from LA, California.
Okay. Nice to see you, Jackie. Yep. We got
Thank
Michael Stacy from Madeira. Michael Stacy, you're in great hands, Michael Stacy. Yeah. Yeah. We got Carl. Carl N. There he is. Yes. I always like to see Carl. It's nice. Carl. We got oh, Kristen. Kristen again. She's yeah, she takes off every once in a while, but she comes back. Thank you. That's nice to see you, Kristen. We have, let's see, this is Christine H. Nice to see you, Christine. Is this your first time here?
This is, yes. I just found you on the
Uh,
Facebook page, so thank you. It was a great meeting so far. Not
uh,
meeting, but
welcome, welcome. Nice to see you.
thank you, you as well.
We got Oliver K. from Berlin. Nice to see you, Ollie. We got Kaiser. He's in Los Angeles now. We got Tanya from Cardenas. Jackie I. Gustav. Let's see who else is here today. That's around it. Hey, thanks everyone. Another lovely session. Yes. They keep getting churned out, man. We must be doing something right. All of us, yeah? Yeah. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, remember that
Thank
if
you,
you're
Peter.
interested in that meeting, it'll be Friday, 2 o'clock p.m. and the information will be on the chat or on maybe Mike, we can put it up on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't know if they heard me.
Yep.